What's up, YouTube family? It's your boy Jeffy. Um, just finished eating dinner. I was just reading my Bible. The Book of Genesis. I think chapter 32, and I was like reading a part about my ancestor Jacob. Man, I love Jacob so much. If you don't know, Jacob is the head of the tribes of Israel. The tribes of Israel were his 12 sons, and each one of his sons had their own tribe. But anyway, I was reading this part in Genesis where, if you don't know about Jacob, by the way, him and his brother Esau, they were at war since they were in the womb. Jacob was a black man, and Esau was a hairy man, or like a red man, like a white man. So, just a little short story. So, his mother asked God, "Why am I having these birth pains?" And God was like, "Because your children are going to be from two different nations, and they're warring with each other." So, it says in the Bible that when they came out, that Jacob was holding on to Esau's heel, because Jacob was the baby. Jacob was the younger one. And I remember one of the stories, and I mean not one of the stories, in one of the parts of Genesis, Esau was like a hunter. He was kind of like a killer. Like, he would go out and hunt animals and bring the game back home for the family. And Jacob was a man of like the tents. Like, he stayed home, he tended the flocks, and he tended like I guess gardens. And he wasn't like a feminine man, but he was like more of like a peaceful, loving man. And he just saw life in a different way. So one of the days Esau came home from his hunt, and he told Jacob, like, "Can you prepare me some stew? That red stew that I like." And Jacob, he was like cooking, he was chefing or whatever. And Jacob was like, "Sure, like, I would love to feed you, brother, but let me get your birthright." You know what I'm saying? Like, Jacob was such a smart man. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't an evil man. Like, he didn't want the birthright to get over on his brother. He just like, there's certain reasons why he did the things that he did. Esau, his heart was really hard, and Jacob's heart was really soft. So Esau was like, "Man, I'm starving. Like, can you just hurry up and fix me the food? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna let me starve to death?" And Jacob was like, "Man, I would love to feed you. I'm going to feed you, but please, can I have the birthright?" And like, people don't understand things happen for a reason. So anyway, Esau said fine, and he ate the food or whatever. Then their father Isaac was sick. You know what I'm saying? He was like on his deathbed, and he spoke to his son Esau, the firstborn, and he was like, "My son, I'm dying. I'm on my deathbed. Can you please go out and hunt something for me and fix me my favorite meal? And also, I will give you my blessings." And like, if when Abraham gives his blessing to his son, it's like something very special. Like, it was like ordained by God. You know what I mean? Like, because like, Isaac talked to God directly. Like, back in those days, like, people had a conversation like talking to God like we talk to each other. You know what I mean? So beautiful. I want that so bad. But anyway, so Esau ran out to go and get his father's his wishes. So Isaac's wife overheard them, and it also says in the Bible that Isaac loved Esau. Like, how, like, of course, if you have children, you're gonna love both your children, but like, you might have a favorite. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but we're human. You know what I mean? We're not perfect, and we might have favorites out of our children. So Isaac loved Esau very much, and that was his favorite. And his wife, I forgot her name, she loved Jacob very much. That was her favorite. So when she overheard that conversation, she already knew that Esau had a hard heart, and he really didn't deserve the blessings. So she told her son Jacob, like, "I overheard your father speaking to Esau, and she's going to give him the blessing. So what I want you to do is put on his clothing and pretend to be Esau, and go out and pick the choicest, I think calf or one of the animals out of the herd. Pick the best one you can pick." And she said that she would prepare the meal and serve it to your father. So that happened, and Jacob came into his father Isaac, and he spoke to his father, and Isaac was like, "Is that you, my son Esau?" Jacob was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Come closer, so I can like feel your hands." So he felt his hands. He was like, "Your voice is that of Jacob, but your hands and your clothes are that of Esau." And then Jacob gave his father the food, and Isaac ate the food, and he was very well pleased. And then he said to Jacob, "My son," I forgot exactly what he said, but basically he said, "My son, I'm going to give you the blessing." And then like the blessing was something wonderful, like so beautiful, like he was gonna have like land and like a whole bunch of cattle, and basically he was getting blessed by God. Basically, it's pretty awesome. And then after Jacob got the blessing, Esau came back from the hunt. You know what I'm saying? Like all probably tired and sweaty and all that. You know what I'm saying? He came in, and then he started talking to Isaac, and then Isaac said he shook violently. You know what I'm saying? Because he was disturbed, because he was like, "Who did I give the blessing to?" And then he found out that it was Jacob, and Esau was very mad at him, and Esau wanted to kill his brother Jacob. He even said that, "I'm going to kill my brother Jacob after my father dies." So once again, the mother heard that. So she told Jacob, "Look, your brother's planning on killing you. You need to go ahead and roll out and go to my I think she said her brother Laban. Go to Laban in his land and link up with him and stay with him for a while until Esau cools off." So he stayed with Laban, you know what I'm saying? And Jacob was over there, and he saw Laban's daughters, and it said that Leah, she was like not ugly, but like she wasn't as beautiful as most women, I guess, back then. And then he saw Rachel, and Rachel was like really beautiful, and she had like the curves and all that. So um, Jacob like fell in love with her instantly. And then Jacob was like, "What can I do to have your daughter Rachel?" And he said, "Work for me for seven." No, Jacob offered. He was like, "I'll work for you for 7 years to have your daughter Rachel." That's what I love about those times back then. Like back then, people were really in love. Like they were willing to go the extra mile for somebody that they love. Like nowadays, we just wanna have sex, or we just wanna like go out, have like a little slight date, and it's like it's not real anymore. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, um, he was working for Laban for 7 years, worked hard, and then at the end of the 7 years, he was like, "I'm ready to have my wife Rachel." So Laban gets his other daughter, the older one, whose name was Leah, and gives her to him. And he was like, "What's this? Like, I wanted Rachel." That didn't even sound right. But he's like, I was supposed to get Rachel. Like, why are you giving me Leah? And then he was like, our custom is not to give the youngest daughter in marriage, is to give the oldest daughter first. So he was like, okay, um, I'll work another 7 years, and I would love to have Rachel. So he worked like he really wanted Rachel, man. Like, dang, she must have been amazing. So he worked an extra 7 years, and then he got Rachel. And then I'm gonna just skip the story because a lot happened after that. But basically, Jacob got really blessed. He had two wives. No, he had like four wives, I think, because he had Leah, Rachel, and then he had both their servants. Well, I guess you could call them concubines, so they weren't necessarily wives, but he had four women, and he had a bunch of cattle and like basically like his own little personal army. So he's returning back to the land of Canaan, where Isaac was, where he died, and I forgot what exactly happened, but oh yeah, I remember. He was like he told one of his servants, "Go to the land where my brother is, Esau. He's in the land of Edom, and tell him that I'm coming to see him." So the servant went and told him, and then when he came back, Jacob found out that Esau was coming, but he wasn't coming by himself. He's coming with 400 of his troops. Like Esau wasn't playing. He was really mad. He's still mad, and this is like 20 years later. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you know Esau didn't really deserve the blessings, because he was a hard-hearted, evil person. Like, okay, I understand like your brother took your blessing, which you didn't really deserve, but you're gonna harbor that much hate for your brother for 20 years and still want to kill him after 20 years, your blood brother, your twin. Wow. So he's coming with 400 men. And I love Jacob so much. He's my ancestor, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably where I get my love from. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so Jacob was like, he told his servants, he was like, go ahead and take like 200 of the cattle and like a whole bunch of goats and sheep and all that and just give it to him because like I love my brother more than to have a battle with him and lose my wives and my children and possibly my life or kill my brother. So they go and like meet him, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm at right now. Like I already read the whole Bible, but I forgot what exactly happened. I'm pretty sure that Esau accepted the gift and they were like cool again. But it's like I'm saying this story to say that when I was living with my father, I have a brother, you know, a younger brother, and he's not like my full-blooded brother. We have the same father but different mothers, and reading that story just reminded me of him because when I was living with my father, I remember I told you guys in one of my videos, like I was a bad person. Like my mind was bad, my heart was bad, and my soul was bad. Like I was a good person, but I had got corrupted, and I guess I let the demons in and I let them take over. And you know, so I love my brother. I always loved my brother ever since he was born. You know, like I remember me and my sister, we used to play with him all the time when he was a baby. Man, he was so cute, man. He was like one of the cutest babies in the world. Um, but we were like we were um I got a phone call. That's why I'm distracted. I'm gonna let it ride out though. So what happened? So I was living with my brother, and like I always loved him. Like we would play the Xbox 360 together, and we would talk and we would laugh and stuff. But like sometimes, you know, like that's how I know I was the older brother, because like sometimes he'd get on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? And I would just be really hard on him. I think sometimes I would tell him like shut up or something like that, or I would make fun of him. It just hurts thinking about it. I love my brother, and I was too hard of an older brother, and that's a crazy thing. I always wanted an older brother, you know what I mean? And I was the older brother, and I failed as being an older brother, and that sucks. So after I told you guys I got kicked out of my dad's house, just check one of my videos. I got kicked out of my dad's house, and you know, ever since then, like I never really was able to be around my brother like that. Like I would see him occasionally, like whenever I saw my dad, like randomly, occasionally, like once in a blue moon, I would see him. But you know, now my younger brother, he's grown up now. He's all grown up. He's in college and all that, and he's like taller than me. And I'm like 6'5", you know what I'm saying? 6'4", 6'5". I weigh like once around like 170, 175. But my brother, he's like way bigger than me now. Like he's like taller than me and he's bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? He's like the little brother looks like the big brother, and the big brother looks like the little brother. But I guess you could tell I'm older because I like my face and all, and my facial hair. You know what I'm saying? But like after I read that part, like literally tonight after I ate dinner, when I got to chapter 32, when it talked about how Jacob tried to make peace with his brother Esau, I was like, and I always wanted to do that. Like I always wanted to tell my brother. I told him before, but it touched me even more now if I had to tell him again. So I just called him and spoke to him, you know what I'm saying, and just told him how much I loved him and told him that how much I was sorry for the way I treated him, and that I just want to rebuild our relationship, rekindle that, and God willing, we'll be able to do that. So just a little story, man. Just a little story, and you know, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but yeah, heart's hurting a little bit, but I'll get over it. God's with me. All right, love you guys. Peace.